Welcome back to Annie Breaks It Down, where we ask the one question that no one seems to be able to answer. What on earth is happening? A lazy American born in a Texas trailer park isn't somehow more valuable than a Guatemalan nurse stitching wounds in Queens at 3 a.m. But that's how the system treats it, like skin color is a passport or birthplace is a personality trait. And yet, America's whole identity is built on the myth of give me you're tired, you're poor. The contradiction is glaring. Why should a birth certificate mean more than hard work, honesty, or character? Citizenship doesn't create virtue. And geography doesn't guarantee grit. If anything undermines the promise of multiculturalism, it's confusing where someone was born with who they actually are. And this is the heart of the problem. We keep treating accidents of birth like they're achievements of character, which is why it helps to actually break identity down, because not all parts of who we are function the same way. When we talk about identity, there are really three categories. First, the immutable traits: your race, your ethnicity, your sex, the stuff you can't change. Then, flexible traits: your religion, your culture, even your sexual orientation, things that, at least in some contexts, can shift over time. And finally, the character traits: honesty, intelligence, work ethic, professionalism. These are the things that anybody, anywhere can embody. The danger comes in when we build our whole identity around the first category. Because here's the thing, you're not a better person just because you were born male or white or American. Those facts don't say anything about whether you're honest, hardworking, or trustworthy. And the moment you start making claims about groups, like say that one race is smarter than another, it all falls apart. Think of the bell curve. Even if you believe in group averages, there will always be countless individuals in one group who outshine countless others in another. What we should actually want isn't a race of smart people. We just want smart people. Period. That's the difference between group identity and individual identity. Being hardworking or honest isn't tied to your ethnicity or your religion. It's personal. Here's where identity politics gets really corrosive. It doesn't just divide people into groups. It locks them into political tribes. Think about it. If your identity is built on something immutable, like your race or your sex, then your politics isn't about policy anymore. It's not about what you think of healthcare or taxes or foreign policy. It's about which party represents people like you. And once you start seeing yourself that way, you're not switching sides. Ever. Even if the other party comes up with a policy that would actually help you, you're not crossing that line, because your political identity isn't about the issue anymore. It's about being against the other side. And that's how identity politics erodes otherwise healthy politics. Instead of people shifting back and forth based on the merits of an idea, we end up with two entrenched camps dug in, unwilling to budge. Not because of policy, but because of identity. So let's test this with something familiar. What does it mean to quote-unquote be American? Does it just mean being born in the United States? Because if that's the definition, it puts lazy, dishonest Americans in the same category as diligent, honest, and hardworking ones. Which traits do we actually want American to mean? And honestly, would you rather live around lazy Americans or hardworking immigrants? And if immigrants bring those positive traits, responsibility, integrity, perseverance, does it really matter if they have a different accent or celebrate different holidays? Probably not. This is the heart of multiculturalism. Realizing that good traits, like hard work, honesty, resilience, they aren't exclusive to any one group. When people say that Asians are hardworking or that Americans are innovative, what they're really noticing is that individuals in those groups happen to display those values. But anyone else can, too. Gender makes this clear as well. Biological sex is fixed. You can't change chromosomes. But gender roles? Those are cultural. They're flexible and socially constructed, and people can challenge or reshape them however they want. Again, the focus is on what individuals choose, not the boxes that society puts them in. And this is why identity politics ends up undermining multiculturalism. Because at its core, identity politics says people deserve special treatment based on immutable traits. Sometimes it's a white supremacist saying that white men are superior. Other times it's an activist saying that Black women deserve special privileges. Either way, the logic is the same. Group membership comes before individual merit. But multiculturalism can only survive if the opposite is true. A society where people of all backgrounds live together and are judged not by labels but by their character, their honesty, their diligence, their respect for others. When we start holding some groups to different standards because of traits nobody can control, we chip away at that foundation. So here's the big picture. Identity politics pulls us apart because it makes us look at groups, not people. Multiculturalism, on the other hand, only works when we measure each other by the values we embody, the choices we make, and the lives that we build. If we really want a free, inclusive society, we have to let go of the labels. When it works, multiculturalism doesn't just tolerate difference. It turns difference into strength. You get a diversity of skills, perspectives, and ideas that make societies more innovative and resilient. When people from different backgrounds bring their best traits, hard work, creativity, and honesty, you end up with a society that's stronger than the sum of its parts. And maybe this is the real promise of multiculturalism. Freedom. The freedom for individuals to define themselves, not by race or gender or birthplace, but by the values they choose to live by.